And thank you for that. Yeah, and I think you've led me really well into my next question, and you're right, because you have recently left your HR career after 30 years due to burnout. And burnout is something that we hear, actually, I wouldn't say it's industry specific, but I have to say, I think HR professionals particularly are experiencing this a lot and have, continue to face it. So first of all, I cannot thank you enough for sharing your own personal story about this journey for yourself. But if you could maybe go on and explain to our viewers, for your own kind of burnout experience, what actually led to that?
Well, I would say that it was the onset of COVID that really tipped things over, Katie. So COVID brought a very different and difficult layer to the HR profession, which was is always busy and challenging. We suddenly were catapulted to the forefront, and we were the go-to people for advice on absolutely everything, and against a backdrop of confusing and ever-changing advice. So be it furlough, shielding, home working, even homeschooling, the use of new technology, we were faced with unprecedented absence levels, difficulties with recruitment. So we had all of that thrust on us at a time when many of us were very busy anyway. So in my case, we were a lean organisation, so a lean executive team, and I had a very lean HR team as well. We also went through a massive change at our board. Our whole board was completely renewed. So that obviously brought along new expectations and also trying to build relationships in a non-face-to-face environment. I was also at a stage where we were completing some really big projects, so job evaluation across the organisation and our HR systems implementation. So suddenly along comes COVID, I'm working from home with all these different challenges. I was aware that some of my team and some of my colleagues were also struggling. I was maybe loath then to share how I was feeling. So my commute was across the landing here into this office, and with all those pressures, I was finding myself working 14 and 16-hour days. I was forgetting to take a break and get out in the daylight. I was suffering from aches and pains that I'd suffered before. And I clearly was taking on too much. And I now realise, I've been on a course, I'll maybe talk about it later. I've realised that I've got tendencies towards perfectionism, high achiever, dare I say a controller as well. I was in the driving seat, but not the driver.
Absolutely.
Come January, now January is not my favourite month of the year for a whole host of reasons, including some personal reasons. But last January was like no other, and clearly I had been ignoring big red flags. And if I say that I turned up at my desk one day and I literally physically couldn't put fingers on the keyboard, I simply just couldn't switch my computer on. I sat with my head in my hands, sobbing uncontrollably. Now, people that know me know I'm not somebody like that.
That's not you.
Strong, I'm happy-go-lucky, and I get stressed, but nothing like this was the scale. So as I say, these red flags, that if anybody is seeing these, please take note. So I wasn't sleeping, I had absolutely no interest in anything, anybody. I was having anxiety attacks. I was thinking I was having a heart attack in the night sometimes when I was waking up. I was completely disengaged, and I was irritable with people, and that's my family, my colleagues when I think back, and actually strangers as well. I had some guy in a supermarket, and it's just not like me at all. And of course, all of that leads to a dip in your performance as well. And for somebody who's a perfectionist, a high achiever, this was just turmoil for me.
100%.
And I'm also, you know, I'm quite a sociable bunny as well. So the world of COVID, where you're not having that normal contact, you're not having your holidays where you would normally recharge. And I've got a sister in care, and obviously I wasn't allowed to see her. So this was not helping one bit. And one of the things I noticed, Christmas is a time when I love, and you know, I love having everybody round and fun, and I found presents in April that I didn't even know what they were. I hadn't even opened them.
Gosh.
You know, and I just wasn't engaging with people over that festive period. So it's taken me to think back and realise what was going on. So I've obviously looked into burnout quite a bit and a bit of research around it, and they say that actually people with these perfectionist, high achieving tendencies are the people that are more likely to suffer from burnout. So to sum up, I left it too late. I had too much. My attitude towards work wasn't right, and these are the two things that need to change for you to get yourself away from that path of burnout, or to get out of it if you feel that you are tiptoeing into it.
Yeah. Can I ask, you know, you talked there about how it kind of culminated in you going one morning to sort of switch on your PC and you physically just couldn't do it. I mean, was that the kind of the point where you thought, I need to actually ask somebody for help? Was it just a culmination of you saying, as you say, you weren't sleeping, you were having anxiety attacks, you were irritable, which isn't like you, you know, you weren't interested in what your surroundings were, whether that be with people or items? Was it just that day that you thought, I need to ask for help?
That day was break point, Katie. Absolutely. I was utterly unable to function. Wouldn't be too strong a way of saying that. You know, I think when I look back, I was maybe trying to talk to people, but I knew everybody else was struggling, so I was trying to take on probably too much. That perfectionist in me probably didn't want to admit defeat, and I wasn't even talking to my husband because, you know, I didn't want to burden him. So I was keeping it all in, and I was just a tinderbox waiting to explode.
Absolutely.